Zachariah.
James, the Ginger Ninja Cleary.
Adam.
Henry Wagner.
And this is Season 2 of Geek Talk, Return of the Geeks. What? Alright, so we're back.
In black.
Yeah, we're back.
Oh my god, I'm here.
Yeah. Alright, so how's everybody's break, by the way?
Good, dude.
It was good.
I beat Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite.
How did you feel about that ending?
Oh, dude, that ending, dude. I was all about that. It kept me going. And it only took me a minute to put it all together, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I was reading online that everyone's like, it doesn't make sense, plot holes. And I'm like, it makes sense. There are no
makes a
plot
lot of
holes.
sense.
They're probably plot holes. I'm not worried about it, though. Great ending. Haven't played it. Rethink your life.
Alright, so James, how was yours?
Great. I played a whole bunch of Pokemon, and I'm actually still playing it now.
How'd you
Yeah,
like that ending, dude?
It was actually, to be honest, as far as Pokemon goes, it had one of the better plot lines.
That's what I've heard about.
Just because the villain was actually bent on destroying the world, which is something that's far-reaching for Pokemon.
All those poor Pokemons gonna die.
Yeah,
My brain-
seriously, that was involved.
Oh, and I want to say congratulations to Adam.
What'd I do?
He got engaged.
I
Gosh.
did.
Yes, he got
You're a
engaged.
Beautiful lady.
Dude,
Yeah.
I can't wait until your best man land party.
Land party.
Alright, so during my break, I just watched a bunch of movies.
Same.
I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, which brings us into our conversation. This whole controversy with YouTube over break, like the whole content ID.
Someone want to explain that before we start talking about it?
I mean, Adam seems to be more.
So here's the deal. Basically, all your favorite YouTube content creators, if they were reviewers or whether it be music or games or movies, they're all in danger of losing their livelihoods, basically. These guys who do this for a living now are just in a huge amount of danger. The content ID system, the new one they put in, picks up on even clips of music from within a game that they're showing for a review, takes that, says your content is matched for third-party content. Basically, it's not original, it's not yours, and it takes the money that would go to you and puts it to whatever the company that is. Now, a lot of these companies have actually come out against this content ID system, like Bethesda has come out against it. I think BioWare has come out against it. A number of other game companies have come out against it, especially the independent ones. But yeah, it just sucks.
So basically, it's a policy that's meant to hurt people who are just putting stuff up so people can pirate it and then they make money off
Exactly.
it.
So,
However, it's hurting people who do honest reviews of stuff or use content in their videos, not necessarily for that purpose. But since YouTube's just a giant robot, they get the banhammer too.
exactly. And if you get 3 strikes after your if you get 3 videos pulled, 3 strikes against you, your entire account is shut down. So years of hard work gone for these guys.
Well, I did check where our podcast is in the safe, at least at the moment. I mean, on YouTube at least. We could find other ways of getting around that.
Yeah, we'll slap on that
My
warning
voice is
too if we don't own
copyrighted.
any of this
Yeah.
stuff.
I've been acknowledging that they'll say, "Oh, this is this song in there, or whatever." Is I don't want to lie and get a strike.
Yeah,
for no reason.
absolutely.
So that's what I've been avoiding. For me, I think I've been seeing a lot of videos that I watched. I'm like one of those guys that'll watch videos over and over and over again, and I'll see some of the videos I've been watching disappearing, like just because this whole new thing, and it's I don't know. Hey, James, you seem quiet.
No, you guys have pretty much been saying it all. It's really just not fair. If you've been working your whole life, or a good majority of it, just to make, like, people make money this way. Some people, like, this is practically their jobs, and then they're just kind of getting swatted away. So it's not cool.
It's a scary ethos too to have. To really, that's the ethics of the company. These blanket policies, and the fact that this has been going on since maybe I think November, and this has been this isn't like a small thing. Like Business Weekly has reported on this, Wall Street Journal reported on it. Like this has been like pretty much front page news, and YouTube has really not commented besides just, well, this is the content ID system. And it's almost kind of reminds me in a weird way of Xbox One, where everyone hated what Xbox One was doing with always on DRM and all that stuff. And then they said, well, no, let us explain it to you. And it was actually way worse. That's kind of what happened in this situation here. It's like, oh, it's worse than we were thinking it was. And from that point, as far as I know, as far as I can find, YouTube hasn't done anything beyond releasing that initial press release talking about why they did it.
Mm-hmm. I think this will hurt them a lot. I mean, I know some people that are actually abandoning YouTube altogether. Mm-hmm. They're going to places like Vimeo. I mean, Vimeo, even though like you can't post in HD unless you pay, but you can post in standard def as much as you want.
The only problem with that is that I had said earlier to you guys that Google owns, like, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but hypothetically speaking here, about like 99%, like what Henry said.
Yeah, it's a very high percentage.
Extremely high percentage of these ad companies that, every time you watch a video...
I'm talking about just general uploaders. I'm not talking about those that are uploading for money, because, I mean, what are they going to be able to do? Because at the moment...
People don't donate, soon they'll own Wikipedia.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is all kind of a scary dystopian future looking at for the internet almost.
This is kind of a sidecar comment, but I was talking with some friends of mine, and I'm like, the future they're going to be like teaching courses on, like the internet and like the history of the internet and all this stuff, and I think there's going to be a course called Google and Morality.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that. I can see that.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. And speaking of the whole teaching internet classes, I'm thinking I can tell my kids in the future that I'm actually older than the internet, and they'll be like, say, what?
Yeah.
Just the fact that we've been around before the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yet my dorm area has no internet now, and I feel like the world is ending.
But it's like it's also weird to think like, our parents spent the majority of their lives, unless you have very young parents, which
extremely young parents.
But I mean, have spent the majority of their time, not on the internet. We have spent the majority of our lives, on the internet at this point.
For some people, literally.
Yeah, exactly. But not our entire life. We vaguely remember what it was like to have the internet, and it's slowly getting better. Like
back when you had
children growing up now, they'll just know the internet as it is. It'll just be like part of their life, and that's weird to think about.
Remember dial-up AOL?
Of course. I still got it.
Yeah, I mean,
we were also talking earlier how Google's not just on the internet, but Google is doing some shady stuff. Like they bought like what did you say? It was like a barge.
It was like 6 barges off the coast. I can't talk today. The coast of San Francisco, and they were like covered, and no one knows what's in them. And
Google refuses to like just release any information on what these things are or what their purpose is. And there's a whole thing where like they're making drivable cars, which is cool until the robot uprising.
Yeah, exactly.
The robopocalypse.
Exactly.
R.I.P. that film.
Google is the new Skynet.
Well, actually, they are making. Just a quick side note. Steven Spielberg is actually making a movie called Robopocalypse.
I heard it was delayed.
It was actually delayed, but they didn't indefinitely at the moment. But
it was based off a book, which
it's based off a book like World War Z. But
regardless.
Which otherwise sounds like some just B movie from the sci-fi.
Yeah.
Until you hear Steven Spielberg.
Who knows? Who knows what Google has in store for us?
I feel people that do post movies and music up on YouTube illegally should be the ones that be punished. But like say if our podcast got in trouble just because of just using part of like a minute of a song, and just talking about these movies and stuff like that. I feel we should be punished. It's like an unfair system. But what are we gonna do?
I think we're safe as long as we don't say any movie quotes, or as long as Henry doesn't try and sing something.
But
I mean, I personally think these YouTube content creators should pull together. Have you guys ever heard of Polaris?
No.
It's a game channel on YouTube that brings a lot of these YouTube guys together. You might have like like the Game Grumps mix up with Dasher, or something like that, and it's really cool. They do all these cool skits, and they'll do special game events and things like that.
Rooster Teeth is one of those, I think, where they bring a bunch of people together.
Well, Rooster Teeth started its own thing, though.
It did start off as its own thing.
But Polaris, I would love to see Polaris start their own damn site.
Yeah.
Buy up that last, not all of them, of course, but even one ad company that's willing to help them out. Get some help, even maybe from game industry like Bethesda and those guys, to throw in some money. Maybe they create their own content system. They review their games. Yeah. They're all safe from the wrath of YouTube.
That's what IGN does.
And just be done with that.
I'm thinking about like how YouTube could get out of this situation, and what immediately like crossed my mind is like, well, if you're someone who is doing these kind of reviews, maybe you'd like check that box when you were creating your account. But I'm like, well, everyone's going to do that. They used to do that all the time to get away with longer videos. I'm like, I'm a filmmaker, and it's just like 30 minutes.
It's like lying about your birthday.
Exactly. So, and that really made me think, earlier you had mentioned that this really, really cuts out people who want to get into like the critic kind of like review system on YouTube, because even if they put something in place to kind of like cut this out, there's a good chance that it might. I got a phone call.
Apologize. Their apologies. Yeah. But I do think though, IGN kind of is starting their own video uploader. I mean, you can upload videos through IGN now.
But the only problem with IGN is
it has to be video game. Yeah,
they're kind of shillish too. I mean, they've been paid off, but clearly many times.
Yeah.
You look at their Call of Duty Ghosts review, or look at something, and you're just like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
You're here to say that such and such a game gets repetitive after a while, but I think is a fantastic game. But Call of Duty is repetitive, but it's fun still. I mean,
yeah. Here's the thing, though. I'm also going to possibly be a future employee of IGN.
Fix it.
I'm apparently going to find out sometime this week if I am going to become a freelance writer for them.
Well, let's just say them right now. And IGN is a quality news source that I spend time on when I'm on the internet.
I spend a lot of my time on IGN.
It's my number one source for news.
Go IGN. Yay. All right.
Okay, we're safe.
All right, so
Speaking of technology.
Yeah. That's actually nice.
That's a good transition.
It's a good transition. Over break, me and Henry saw not together.
We are not together.
Yeah, we saw.
We like to keep it loose and fresh.
We got to see the movie Her.
Right.
I mean, what did you think? Because I thought it was amazing.
I have a lot of comments on it, and they are almost entirely positive. Her was probably the best movie I saw in 2013. I didn't see all the movies that are up for Oscar nominations and all the movies that didn't make it but are considered good, but
we'll get into that in a few minutes.
Absolutely, we're going to talk about that.
I didn't see it, but does she die?
No.
Really?
Okay. Her was a movie.
No spoilers.
Her was a movie that stylistically blew my mind. The thought experiment that it took to put this movie into the near future, it's so genius. Like, the fashion styles seem realistic, but yet futuristic and removed. Everything in the world is, kind of pastel-ish, kind of like futuristic, but in a way that kind of make it believe, in ways that I would say a movie like Blade Runner also makes you believe, even though that one's like a trash heap, you can still believe that film.
Elysium.
And Her is the same way. Elysium too. But this one's the kind of more like the clean, upscale, normal, everyday, future, which is really, really cool. The film, another thing I want to say about the film is, first of all, great acting on the part of Joaquin Phoenix, but extraordinary voice acting by Scarlett Johansson. She's so believable as this computer just through the voice acting that you can always tell what emotion that she's trying to convey in it. And
I do want to add though. I also felt like it kind of felt like a Kubrick film.
yeah, a little bit.
It had this Kubrick feel to it.
It was a cerebral film at times too, and it's a film that I think it was a modern film because it didn't hold anything back in its language. Like there were like overtly sexual things that were talked about. There was that little There was that little guy, that little like thing that just said the F word like 20 times. Like this is a movie made for adult / young adult audiences of today with that kind of tone. And I don't think I've seen a film like that kind of had that kind of like very, very kind of like free tone. Yeah, it was a great film. I really enjoyed it, and it was one of the most unique experiences I've seen in a while.
Out of 5 stars, what would you get it?
I hate to give something 5 out of 5, so I'll give it a 4.5.
For me, I loved her. I thought the chemistry between Joaquin and Scarlett Johansson was phenomenal. There's one scene in particular where they're doing that song number. Mm-hmm. Just the way that, even though she's an AI and he's really there, you just kind of felt like she actually was a real person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that's a recurring theme throughout the movie too. Mm-hmm. Like, do you feel me there with you?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a recurring theme, and I felt I very believe that she actually was there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good film because first of all, it is a romance film, but I think overall it's a science fiction film because it really does ask that question.
Well,
like
science fiction is romance.
Yeah, exactly. It's a science fiction romance film. But it really does ask the scientific question, like, what is our relationship with technology? How real can things be? And you see this theme come up and again in the film where people are just talking to their phones as, like, this operating system trend, like, rises up and everyone's doing it. And I know the film really had me. There's a major theme in the film where Joaquin Phoenix's character, he's like very unsure of this relationship he has with this operating system, because some people were like, why do you do this? Other people were like, encourage him, and he's very unsure about it. And the thought crossed my mind for a moment. I'm like, well, this relationship is obviously good for him. This is like a good thing, and that's how I know like the movie had sold me on the idea where I was actually considering, like, this is a good thing that someone has a relationship with a voice in a computer. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, really, really cool. And, like, that personally, like, made the film good for me because it was believable and palpable.
There could have been so many moments where the movie could have thrown us off, but the way it was done so well, like where they're on a romantic trip for a weekend, it could have just been a weird thing, and then it turned out to be completely different. When they're having quote unquote sex, it could have been the most awkward, weirdest thing you would ever see on screen.
Yeah.
It turned out to be actually pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I would give the movie 4 out of 5. I would give it a 4.5. But I thought for originality, amazingly well done.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 out of
Spike
5.
Jones, he's one of my favorite directors. I mean, Where the Wild Things Are is an underrated movie.
Yeah.
So
I'll put another note in here that the film has a good score done by a number of contemporary artists, and that's always an added plus too. And I really think that with this idea, like just on a pen and paper, as a man, and like a really smart operating system, and then a romance plot, they explored so many facets of that. Like so many, like they put the thought experiment to the test, and you really see that in the film, and you really come out of it like thinking like there's no like what ifs. Like what if they had done this? They did it. Like they explore every facet of this possible like universe and relationship in a really, really believable way. So,
actually, I have a thing. I was just curious. You had mentioned that it's sort of this slightly futuristic film, and that kind of got me thinking. The 50s and 60s certainly had their brand of like surfer films and these sort of different genres that always pop up throughout history.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the beginning? Is the beginning of a new genre and a new sort of era of movies for us?
it's too early to say.
Yeah, I think that it is too early to say. I would like to see that, but I don't think that this film just on the get-go has created enough buzz for that to happen.
We have a lot of cerebral films coming out. We have Transcendence, which could be like
I was just about to bring
AI,
that up.
computers, and AIs. But
That looks cool.
yeah, I haven't seen any trailers for it.
I think that the idea
We kind of have to wrap
behind
this subject up.
transcendence is just mind blowing because the concept of transcendence is humans becoming one with computers and how unlimited your thought process could be at that point. And it's an interesting thought.
I'm not watching any trailers or anything, but another movie we saw during break, well, some of us, all but Adam, is The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug.
How about we start with James here?
I'll speak first because I have the not so good opinion, I guess. But I feel, and keep in mind, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I didn't even see the first Hobbit movie to begin with, so I probably have a somewhat of a skewed perspective.
That is
Get the
very
fuck
skewed. All right, we're gonna cut to Zach.
But I feel they were in the exact same place at the end of the movie as when they started.
For me, I love the movie. I've seen it 4 times already. Being the big Lord of the Rings nut, I am. But for me, I also thought it was a nice setup, but I did hate this cliffhanger at the end of the movie. I know some people were calling it a filler, but I don't see it as a filler. I think it's a huge improvement on an unexpected journey. I think it was a huge improvement on the first one. I felt Smaug was all I ever imagined him to be, but then some. I mean, Cumberbatch was amazing, I thought, as the voice of Smaug.
Yeah, he was good.
He also did the Necromancer. You very briefly hear his voice, but it doesn't even really sound like him. They set it up for the Battle of the Five Armies, I think, somewhat pretty well. But I'm curious to see what they'll do. I think people are saying Smaug is now the next best motion capture character since Gollum. I think that's calling it a stretch.
Wait, how was Smaug motion capture? He's
Actually, he was. They had to have somebody. They had to do some motion capture. Yeah.
I'm just waving my arms here.
They needed some motion capture for.
That's a strange concept.
I mean, they didn't have Benedict Cumberbatch himself doing it, but still. Henry?
All right. I'll start off by saying that I am, generally a Tolkien nerd. I mean, I haven't read a lot of the deeper stuff, but I've read The Hobbit more than any other book on the face of the planet. I love Lord of the Rings. I love the films. I was a little bit disappointed by the unexpected journey, and I'll preface this by saying I was very, very not into this new Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, for the reason that Peter Jackson decided to cut these into 3 films, and it worked well in the unexpected journey. There was enough stuff, but in this film, it really felt like they were just putting stuff in for the sake of...
They're milking it out for cash.
They're milking it out for cash, which I don't really... Actually, I'll take that back. I don't blame Peter Jackson for it. I blame the studio, because they're really... they're probably the ones that are pushing him to split into films and make money off of it. But, I mean, there was just so much stuff in this film that I just felt was so arbitrarily unnecessary. If you haven't seen the film, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm going to spoil it for you. I mean, there's this really, really hokey dwarf, elf relationship triangle that is it's just so bad. And there's this whole sequence in Lake Town that feels very, very not necessary to the plot. And overall, it's just the feel of the film. The feel of the film is so removed from what we got out of Lord of the Rings that it feels very like a facsimile of Lord of the Rings. And to add on to that, the film is called The Hobbit, but you barely see Bilbo in this film. And I do like some of the sequences of this movie. I love all the parts with Bilbo and Smaug I thought were really good. But there's a lot of plot holes in there, too. The whole plan to trap Smaug with the gold, how did they ever come across that? Or...
I'm willing to overlook it.
I don't know. It's
which plot hole?
It was kind of a movie plot hole. It's kind of in the book too. What exactly is Thorin's plan when they get into the mountain? He just oh, Bilbo, go get that stone for me. And then what happens? How are they going to defeat the dragon? But regardless, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of that stuff. It just felt like a very big bloated film, and I don't really know. You guys can disagree with me, but I'm not on board with the special effects on this film either. I kind of felt the same way about The Unexpected Journey too. And I rewatched Lord of the Rings with my mom after we went and saw The Desolation of Smaug, and just like that Balrog scene, like the Balrog itself looks for me just as good as Smaug did in this movie. And think about how much time has passed since that, and I don't really know what kind of like special effects they're using on these films, or
it's very CGI
the 48p, the whatever that is, but it just doesn't do it for me anymore.
It felt one thing, and I'll let James speak.
I just want to. I don't want to.
I just want to say this before I forget, because you mentioned the look of the movie. I thought it actually was more in line with Tolkien than An Unexpected Journey. Like the shot, like in the beginning of the movie, there's a shot where the lighting on the mountain, where you just see the orcs on their wargs on the mountain. I think that was classic. That had a classic Tolkien feel to it.
Only wargs are in.
I don't know how else to explain it. There is the Mirkwood Forest. I thought was great looking. I thought there is. No, I'm just going to leave it up to James.
Yeah,
I'm kind of losing my train of thought.
I just wanted to say on a side note, Stephen Colbert is a huge Tolkien fan, and he actually got a cameo in this movie. Oh, yeah. So if you going to rewatch it, or if you haven't seen it, he's the guy who the eye patch drops down on his face, and he basically hits a lever. It's really short. It's really easy.
Okay, I basically to sum this up, I'm going to give my honest opinion and say this is the worst Peter Jackson film I've ever seen. And I've seen Lord of the Rings, I've seen King Kong, and I've seen one of his earlier films, Evil Dead. And
he didn't do Evil Dead.
Dead Alive, Dead Alive, not Evil Dead, my bad. Dead Alive is a great film. Go see it. It's a gore fest. It's so funny. Anyway, but out of all those films, I thought this was by far the weakest, and that includes King Kong. So that's my opinion.
I thought Lovely Bones was bad.
I didn't see it, so I can't really speak about it.
Can I?
Go for it.
All right, just to preface this, I'm an enormous Tolkien fan. I've read all the books. I haven't yet gone through the notes. We'll see what happens with that. I'm trying to find them.
Dude, you got to get your wedding vows.
I know. But the tiny pet peeve, it's Smaug. Is an owl.
Oh, okay.
It's Elvish.
Smaug.
It's Smaug.
Yeah.
But anyway, from what I've heard of this movie, just completely objective point of view here, and from the bits that I have seen, because my roommate has a total legitimate copy. From the bits I did see, I did like things like him adding in Gandalf's journeys from Tolkien's notes. That is freaking awesome. Having said that, I actually, from what you guys are telling me, I almost would prefer if it was purely a Gandalf, almost spin-off film in the middle of all of this. Maybe a few bits and pieces of Bilbo in, and that's it.
Right.
That would have been far more interesting from what you guys are telling me.
It's weird to point out that I don't have a problem with like the added stuff from the canon, which Gandalf, like the White Council and Dol Guldur and all that. It's the added stuff within the party and within the places the dwarves and the Hobbit go that I have a problem with, because there's no fundamental base for that, and it just doesn't work.
It just kind of feels like fluff, I guess, just kind of there.
All right, out of how many stars, guys, would you give it?
This is a new thing we're doing. We haven't done stars.
3. We're doing out 5, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere between 3 and 3.5, I guess.
I'd say 2.53.
I'll give it a 3.5 or 4. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I absolutely love Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah.
I give it. I give it none I give it none cantaloupes out of 5 stars.
Okay. I like that we're giving stars for things now. This is.
I think that I thought of this as we went along, because I felt it would be more easier.
But I definitely think you could like it. I can agree to disagree to anything for that.
All right. Well,
we're moving on to.
I came up with a list over break, by the way.
Oh.
I was thinking. There was like all these people saying who's going to play Lex Luthor and the Batman Superman movie and blah 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 blah. So I thought, why not? I feel like I'm going to if I wanted to cast a Batman villain, I have a little list here. I don't know if you want to call it little. For like the Riddler, David Tennant.
All you got to see is him and Harry Potter and how much
yeah,
of a freak he is.
Calendar Man. I would say Russell Crowe for Calendar Man.
Now, when you say Calendar Man, I think of like the cheesy. I don't know. Whenever Calendar Man first appeared in like the 40s,
The Long
and how
Halloween.
he actually,
I'm talking
how he
the Long
actually
Halloween.
wore a calendar.
I'm thinking the
That's
long. I'm thinking Long
That's
Halloween.
the image I
The
get.
Silver Age.
Yeah, I'm thinking Long Halloween Calendar Man, like from Arkham City, where he has a
Right.
cameo.
I love this next one you have.
Mr. Freeze, Christopher Eccleston.
That's cool.
I think
I can see
I
that.
picture. When I think Mr. Freeze, I think of the animated series Mr. Freeze with the weird dome head.
Mm-hmm.
The episode he first appears is the saddest episode I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah, there's just like in Mr. Freeze, they never play up the idea that he used to be a scientist. You know,
And not just that, but he's actually kind of like Bane. He's one of those gray villains. He's not always evil. He's not always good.
Exactly.
He's just trying to help his wife come back to life.
Yeah. This next choice was more obvious. Hugo Strange, I would have Robin Williams.
yeah, I could see that.
For Killer Croc, The Rock. I can't picture anybody else as Killer Croc. As Hush, Guy Pearce. Thoughts on that one? No.
Pierce. I can't remember.
He
who that
plays
is. I
the
can't
villain
think-
in Iron Man 3. He played, let's see, he played, you seen Prometheus?
I could see that.
Victor Zaz, you might not know this guy, James Purfoy.
That name sounds familiar.
He's in The Following. He played the bad guy in The Following.
Yeah, I could see that.
Penguin, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, that'd be good.
The next one, I chose Jennifer Lawrence for both of them.
No.
But here's where I was stuck, because I wasn't sure who I would have as Poison Ivy. Adam?
I take issue with you having Jennifer Lawrence as Poison Ivy.
I
Because
just couldn't really think of anyone.
I think that actually, you say here, Amelia Clarke, also possibly for Phantasm. Amelia Clarke would be awesome for Poison Ivy. Jennifer Lawrence would be better for Phantasm.
Yeah.
Because, to me, Jennifer Lawrence isn't like... She's not that type of character to me. She's a stronger, strong woman character as opposed to just being kind of a sexual thing.
Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
An evil plan.
So okay, for Poison
Evil
Ivy,
sex.
Amelia Clarke. For those who don't know, she's Daenerys in Game of Thrones. Phantasm, who was originally just a one-off character at this moment, Jennifer Lawrence. Clayface, I'm split between Jason Clarke from. If you've seen the Rise of the Planet, the new Planet of the Apes trailer, he's the one that yells, "I need to speak to Caesar."
I mean, once we get back to the dorm, I have to see that trailer.
Yeah, he's the one that yells, "I need to speak to Caesar." Or Ralph Fiennes.
We'll talk about that in another.
Ralph Fiennes. Black Mask, Leonardo DiCaprio.
He was also the man in the Iron Mask. You remember?
Yeah.
But I picture. I mean, after seeing Django Unchained, I picture
Yeah, I could see
DiCaprio
that.
as a mobster. I just,
I mean, realistically, Leo could play like half these characters.
Poison Ivy.
That's my favorite.
Red Hood. All right, Red Hood. Ryan Gosling. I'm talking about Red Hood as in Drive. Red
Yeah.
Hood. Like he's like Ryan Gosling from Drive. Mad Hatter, Andy Serkis. Enough said there.
Can I
Yeah.
nominate another villain that I'd like to see? I just personally want to see for the if or when they make a Batman standalone, the Long Halloween fully adapted.
That's what I would.
That's all I want. But I want Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play Alberto Falcone.
He would be great as Albert Falcone.
Yeah, but he's Robin.
He looks so.
He's both. But now.
Alright, and I have three more.
He's Nightwing.
For Solomon Grundy, I would have Vin Diesel. It would be CGI, but I think Vin Diesel would work.
Because we can't trust him to act it alone.
Deadshot, I'm split between Gerard Butler and Michael C. Hall.
Gerard Butler all the way, man.
Yeah, dude.
He'd be much better as Deadshot. Deadshot's a little gruffer.
As I also thought, I pictured Deadshot as Gerard Butler, but I also thought of him as like Dexter in a way.
Mhm.
And then for the ventriloquist, I would have Michael Caine as the old man.
Michael Caine.
And as the voice of the puppet, Colin Farrell.
Orange, size of a tangerine.
Oh, you have to, I love that video.
But see, I
Colin
have
Farrell is the voice of Scarface.
I have a
puppet.
disagreement with that one because I think Scarface it has to be the same guy doing both voices for it to.
What about the guy from the movie Scarface?
No,
Actually,
Scarface
Pacino
has
wouldn't
to
be
be
bad.
someone with like genuine voice acting skills who can also like act.
But
act.
if you think about it, though, there was a mystic element that was never explained about the ventriloquist.
Yeah, but it's still his voice though.
Or Nolan North as the ventriloquist.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd be happy with that.
I think that's actually a better choice. But, okay, so this talk of Batman brings us into our next conversation. Our Batman and Superman delay, the movie, is delayed by 10 months.
Why?
I think they're just gonna jack it up with more special effects.
Actually,
Ben Affleck actually got injured in a skiing accident.
Okay, that might be it too.
I think it's
There's no. It's reports are conflicting at this moment. Some are saying his ribs, some are saying his legs, some are actually saying both.
Same thing.
There's
We don't
more
think
people
about it.
saying both. But the thing is,
Am I the
that
only
would
one
take
sitting
6
here thinking that he actually had a fight with Bane?
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking more that he hurt both. But the thing is, it could take 6 months to get healed up. I don't think it
Yeah.
would take 10 months.
Well-
I think they're going to use that additional 4 months.
To add in more superheroes to
To
this?
add, I think
God.
they're gonna change. They were saying
Martian
10 months to
Manhunter.
realize their vision of the movie. When they say realize their vision, it's going to be a Justice League movie. At this point, I think it's just going to be Justice League because they're hinting at Aquaman being in the movie, Wally West, aka
So you're
the
gonna call
Flash.
it Batman versus Superman versus Flash versus Wonder Woman?
I mean, sure. I'm kind of maybe I'm ready for a Justice League movie. Maybe I'm not. But like, there's also a part of me that says like I
That's
kind of
good
wanted to
for
see
now.
like Batman and Superman in a movie.
I just think a Batman and Superman movie would be so much of a stronger movie and character study of
World's
both
finest.
characters.
I do
Yeah.
World's Finest.
And I think that, especially coming off of Superman killing Zod, no matter what you think about that, there has to be repercussions for that.
we talked about that.
And he needs to deal with that in the next movie. Not just as Zod as a ghost haunting. No, I mean real consequences where he faces.
Especially
real-
since think about Avengers, how they didn't like actually tie up all the plot holes from the Avengers movies. Like that was one of the worst parts of it. Well, not really worst, but like biggest problems with the film is they're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna sweep everything under the tablecloth here about the previous films.
Well, like, that's how I felt about Iron Man 3. They completely. It's like. The movie had like 5 different writers in it shows. And one of the writers I felt was going with a great story of Tony Stark looked into. When he threw that nuke into that black hole. Or black hole. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a black hole, wasn't it?
yeah, sure.
Let's say it's a black hole. When he saw that, he
Wormhole.
saw,
I like
he
that
saw,
better.
he saw the enormity of the universe, and he realized he can't understand it.
Yeah, that was cool.
So this guy who thinks he knows everything, all of a sudden realizes he doesn't. That's an amazing thing to play on for an entire movie, and they just threw that out. And I'm afraid this is going to happen with this movie.
He fought glowing people.
He killed Zod. He's dealt with death that he himself has done with his own hands, and now he's just going to be thrown away as it's going to be thrown away as Zod is going to be a ghost and say bad things to him, and then Superman's going to rise above and be whatever.
And he's
But
gonna
this
be
should be
like-
a long-term thing. I think this should be like a 2 or 3 movie
And plus,
thing.
it's,
He deals with.
and if you look at it too, we've talked about this extensively last year. Is that he destroyed practically his last link to Krypton.
Yeah.
So there's definitely got to be repercussions.
But I don't understand how he's going to deal with that if 18 trillion other superheroes need to be introduced in like 3 villains and like I just
Right now, there's only talk of 1 and Doomsday. Well, 2. So Lex Luthor and Doomsday.
Do we really need another introductory Batman movie?
yeah, that sucks too.
No, I'm not asking for that. I just think that there should be what they're giving, which is the veteran Batman who's jaded. Superman comes along and kind of helps him see that he can make a change, and then Batman kind of brings him down and says, "You can't not just
Because
can't
Ba-
kill, but just bring that home to him to help him
Because
through
if
that."
Superman killed and then Batman doesn't kill, so 2 forces combine.
And you establish that relationship then
Yeah.
between those two as because they are the tightest 2 guys in Justice League. You establish that relationship between those 2, and then you build the Justice League off of that good foundation. But they're not.
From what I've heard, I think, and I have to agree with this, I think they actually didn't even really know what the Man of Steel sequel would have been about by when they announced it at Comic-Con. I think they just did it just to announce something.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much established at this point.
Plus, if you have all these heroes in this movie, like certain heroes will get more spotlight, like Batman, Superman. But then if it's just like Justice League, other people just get like underplayed.
I did hear from reports. Supposedly, one of the guys who's been working on the movie said, I've seen the script. He said, what's done of it so far, what I can see, and he said, Batman's in it, but. This is back when just Batman, as far as we knew, was in it. And he goes, but it's still a Superman movie. Like, let me be clear. Like, in terms of that involvement, it's still a Superman movie. Superman's the primary character. Batman's kind of a side guy. Which I'm fine with. But keep it to two characters. Maybe Lex Luthor, which would have been a great villain, because it would be a shared thing between Bruce and...
I can actually see... I picture
Clark.
I picture Luthor and Wayne... arguing in a boardroom.
Like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I just picture that.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
But
All right.
And
well, they by the end of this, they may just like remake Space Jam. So I mean, it's like a year away. I'm not worried about it. I'll probably be dead by then anyway. Bad choices.
We'll be
15.
2016 May. It's also going against the Marvel movie. So Marvel vs. DC.
Wait, which Marvel movie?
It's unannounced yet. It's an unannounced Marvel movie.
well, it's gonna
People think it's Doctor Strange though.
Well, how can they do that? They're just like, oh, we're gonna make another one. Like this
Doctor Strange movie?
It's Marvel's gonna crash and burn soon.
They should make a silver. They should make a Silver Surfer movie.
They're probably gonna.
Actually, yeah. I
Because
just
in 2016 we're also getting X-Men Apocalypse in 2016. Yeah. Exactly.
We've already had this. Can we move on?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
All right. So the Academy Awards were announced. The nominees last week. We have the nominees right here.
We're looking at Best Picture.
Well,
I've only seen about half of these films.
I've seen one.
I've seen practically all of them except for.
So, yeah.
I haven't seen Nebraska, Filipina, and that's really the only two I haven't seen.
Yeah. Okay.
But for Best Picture, I would love Gravity to win. If that's just me, and I loved
like
Wolf of Wall Street was great.
I think as far as I still like her. I liked it. I did see Wolf of Wall Street, and I feel like it was a good film. But as far as like the creative choice we were all waiting for, I think the good upset in my pick is definitely her for Best Picture.
Sure.
Did you like American Hustle?
I loved American Hustle. I think that's probably going to win Best Picture.
I would be okay with that. I like that. I would say I like that a little bit even more than Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
But I did like Wolf of Wall Street. I encourage you to see it.
Yeah, I think that it's all right. So acting and okay, we're talking about Wolf of Wall Street here. Mm-hmm. Do you think this will be the year that Leonardo DiCaprio will win an Oscar?
I'm not entirely certain. Like, I liked his performance in Wolf of Wall Street, but it definitely wasn't as dynamic as I was expecting it to be.
If he does win, will people shut up about it?
Yeah, I hope so. I wish he would win just to shut up. I could see. I really liked Christian Bale in American Hustle. I didn't see the other three. Matthew McConaughey though.
He was great.
I've heard so much good things. This was a great year for him. Yeah. So I think definitely Leonardo DiCaprio, Matthew McConaughey, or Christian Bale are definitely the front runners for that. I don't know about the other two.
I think if anything, I think it'll be down between either Christian Bale or Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't know how
that was pretty close.
I don't know. I'm just saying it.
Did you like 12 Years a Slave?
I actually enjoyed it, but I didn't think it's Best Picture.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's your typical movie about slavery guy overcoming, gaining his freedom.
Yeah,
kind of
I intend to watch it before the Oscars, but I haven't seen it yet.
Only it's realistic, unlike Django.
Then you got your actresses.
So for actresses, here we again. I only seen
Saul.
I only saw 3 of these movies. Meryl Streep was amazing in August Osage County, but I like Sandra Bullock. I feel she's a shoo-in.
I think it's very possible that she wins for Gravity.
And
that's kind of like put her back to being like a legitimate actor too. I mean, she did Blindside, but that was kind of like a lot of people didn't like her performance in that.
Yeah, I think they should give her. I personally, I think the award should go to Sandra Bullock for Gravity because one, it would bring her back as a legitimate actress. She has so much potential to be more, and the fact that she's won so many Razzies for like worst performances over the years.
Yeah, she's had some bad ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Speed 2, Best Picture award.
Yeah.
So we got supporting actor.
We had the guy from Captain Phillips, the pirate, Barkhad Abdi.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool win for him.
Jonah Hill.
I liked his role in that film. He was such a dick.
I love it where he's like, she's like, I don't work for you. You have my money taped to your boobs.
Yeah,
so you technically don't. So you technically work for me. Riley Cooper, he was good.
He was good in that.
Jared Leto was amazing. I think he has a high possibility of winning.
Yeah.
For Dallas Buyers Club.
Right,
and
right.
Michael Fassbender is another one. He plays this cool slave master.
That's cool.
And the fact that his character is so hated in Louisiana, if you mention him, the name, you would be given a bad look.
That's crazy. Yeah, it seems like you like all the supporting actors.
I mean, they're pretty good. I think they all have equal chance. For supporting actress, I've only seen 3 of these. Again,
Yeah.
I feel it'll probably go to Jennifer Lawrence. She's very.
I mean, she has a lot of pull right now.
Yeah, she's Oscar bait. I mean, the Academy absolutely loves her. People absolutely love her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just great. I think she has a very high possibility.
Yeah, she's pretty good in that role too.
Animated feature here. Okay, I feel that Monsters Inc. was snubbed.
Oh, definitely. I really liked that film. It had a good message.
I was very surprised that it wasn't nominated.
Yeah, and instead we got
because we got the Croods. I mean, over the Croods and Monsters Inc., I think it would have been a better. But then again, I think Frozen's probably going to win.
Frozen's probably going to win, especially since that film has had such a giant bubble.
But then there's also
there's like a fan base for that.
Miyazaki's last film, though, The Wind Rises.
Of course, I heard he's coming out of retirement after like 2 months.
Yeah,
but I don't know how. Like,
we'll figure that out then. I mean, now we have like all the technical shit.
We can probably have picks for this, but we can just
for director. Let's do director.
Yeah, we can totally do director.
I would do. I'm split between Scorsese. He deserves an Oscar. Or David Russell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like David Russell out of the 2 that I've seen, but I mean, like Scorsese. I mean, like, come on, like he's like the greatest American filmmaker, objectively.
I hung out with David Russell a few years back ago. I went to a premiere.
Played Game Boy Color.
I went to a premiere of Silver Linings Playbook.
Okay.
And there was an after party. This is at the Philadelphia Film Festival.
Cool.
I ended up having a few drinks with the guy. And
oh man, were you like 19?
I was 21.
Whoops.
I was 21.
How old are you?
I was 21 at the time, and yeah.
Okay. Well, those are our picks for the Oscars. We're looking forward to it, I think.
And we probably didn't even see any of the documentaries.
We didn't see any. I don't think I've seen any of them. Usually documentaries are things you go back and watch because there's so many of them in a year.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we have for our... Oh, for writing, I think Her was snubbed.
Yeah.
For writing. Oh, no, that's adapted screenplay. Original? Okay, yeah. I think Her will win original screenplay.
Yeah, I hope it does, because it really is. It is.
Here we go.
Astounding.
Here we're coming back again to Her. I mean, it's such an amazing
so unique.
film.
It's so unique.
I mean, American Hustle, though, I think that could also...
That could also win, because that was so tight.
It's a very big favorite with the award season this year. And,
so we're moving on
to Doctor Who Christmas
Special. Christmas Special. I know this stuff.
Talk about it.
It was. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought most of it was really well done. I thought it was cheesy, but it's a Christmas special, and I kind of like that about Doctor Who.
Christmas.
They're always really cheesy, but you don't see a lot of cheesy Christmas stuff on them, so I thought that was nice. Loved Handles.
I cried.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where did Handles come from? Did I miss that?
He's just there.
Okay.
It's just one of those things. He's just there. I tried looking for a mini-sode. There's none there.
Right. I was expecting him to be like, I'm like, where did this guy come up from? Like to be an explanation there, but
I feel like there's something missing from it that we should be like. It just feels like that's something that happened. Like,
Yeah.
Like he just had a Cyberman head from a previous episode. Like,
Yeah,
he never really-
I just didn't know if you knew
I
the
wasn't
origin of
sure.
handles.
Could it be in one of the original Doctor episodes?
I don't know.
Could be.
But I
Yeah, I
liked
got
how Eleven's story kind of finally came full circle.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of finally came back around. You found out why his
That cameo. That cameo at the end of the episode.
Of who?
My Amy Pond.
Oh yeah, I was touched by that. I kind of expected it though. I mean, it wasn't
Still.
surprised, but I mean, it was. I thought it was a really good goodbye, and I liked. It showed how much the Doctor had grown from the time he started as 11 and also ended as 10. Of the "I don't want to go" mentality to being, "I'll always remember when when the Doctor was me."
Yeah.
You know, everybody changes. This is going to happen inevitably.
How did you feel about the fact that they Deus Ex Machina the Doctor's lives?
I was okay with that actually.
I mean, we talked about that before, and that finally answered that question. Like, now he has infinite more lives.
I think that it works, and I think that at the same time, though, he can always still be killed off. It's not like it's something he's not. It's the next 12 regenerations aren't definite. So if the show goes down the tube, then there's still hope.
Yeah,
and they could always do the hiatus thing again if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's. I like it. I like how they did that.
So basically, the fan base is too large for a show to end.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
So big.
I mean, it's a matter of how people are going to take Peter Capaldi. At this moment, they're very welcoming him. Very welcoming. I mean, I loved this little scene at the end.
I did.
Do you
too.
know how to fly this thing?
Yeah, I did. I mean, my only complaint personally, and the last thing I'll say about it is, I didn't like how the end just cut off like that.
Oh yeah.
It was like I literally looked down for a second because I was looking at my computer for some reason. Looked back up and the credits were rolling, and I was like, "Oh, I thought that was a commercial break." Like they ran over the hour. I'm like, "Give me." Like I have read early releases of some of the scripts for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
He has a speech on par with Matt Smith's first speech, maybe even a little better. It's a little more darker, and it still has that kind of. But it's almost. It shows how kind of funny and crazy he is, and at the same time, it's a lot darker.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and the fact that I didn't get to see that, even him, just like walking out the front door of the church or walking out the front door of the TARDIS, getting ready to fight these guys, maybe adjusting his coat and walking off, and it ends
We had
there.
a little humor.
Would have been nice, but it just kind of ended.
We ended up on humor.
Mm.
I mean, kidneys. I don't like the color of those. And he just had like 2-3 lines.
Mm-hmm.
Even those were great though. You gotta admit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought he was good, and I'm excited for Capaldi.
Definitely.
And I think they're gonna really start focusing now on finding Gallifrey. I think they did.
That was a great setup for that one.
Yeah.
I think they also did. I think they did a nice follow up with the Day of the Doctor, like how he's like, I could have saved Gallifrey. He doesn't really know because everything's all jumped.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know, but he kind of has this feeling that it's still around.
Yeah, I feel like the only problem I had with the Christmas special is that it went by so fast. It was so much crammed in that short episode. I wish it had been longer so we could like let it breathe a little bit because things started happening and I was like, why is he defending this town? Why doesn't he just leave? And I had to like really think about it and like I just blinked and it was gone. So here's another point that I want to bring up. I'm really looking forward to new episodes that don't have huge plot significance. Because we had the big 50th anniversary special, we had the season finale, and we had the Christmas special where it's all like all this big stuff is happening, and it's all happening so fast. I kind of want to go back to the whole kind of just like, let's have a lazy adventure somewhere in time, or let's have a self-contained episode. And that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm pretty certain they're going to deliver with that.
Before we move on, what did you think of the explanation about Silence Will Fall?
Oh, that was cool.
I thought that was cool. And I thought it was cool to see the Doctor, his silhouette swinging the cane with the silence behind him helping it. I've always been a fan of former villains and the good guys kind of getting together, and I thought that was a really cool story.
I thought that was a great explanation. I I mean, looking forward now, this brings us to our pick of the week.
Well, actually, no.
No. Let's do another review, and then we'll move on to our pick of the week.
Yeah, a game that 3 of us have played.
Yeah. I don't. But Henry hasn't played the console version of it.
No, but I've played the PC version.
And I played both.
Okay. Are they?
And I've only played the console version. So we have all three.
So you two go first, then I'll go and tell you.
All right. Go ahead.
The game that we've all played is called Don't Starve. It's an indie developed game. I don't know the company offhand. It's a survival story-based game akin to Minecraft, but absolutely nothing like it, so I don't know why I brought it up. It's basically like Minecraft, only you craft tools and you don't mine.
It's a little more hardcore.
And it's a little bit more hardcore, and it's spooky.
Yeah.
So that's my explanation if you guys want to get into it, and I can add stuff into it.
I think it's very simple to play, and I've put a couple hours in, but I'm talking about not all at once. I've put a little bit here, a little bit there. It's just something I'll play when I'm bored, have nothing really else to play.
It's a very casual game.
Yeah, it's very casual. You can get bored with it very fast. I'll give you that. Depending on what's your play style. Adam's shaking his head a little bit. But, I mean, I liked it. Well, actually, I like it. And it's just a fun game to play. I just unlocked the third character, the strong man. So I've been playing with each character so far. So the scientist, and then the girl with the lighter, and then I think it's Aurora is her name, and then I'm now with the strong man. So I'm gonna try to play as every character, at least try to. But the longest I've actually survived was 10 days. And at that point, I was like, I'm kind of bored, so I'm just going to die. And I killed myself on purpose.
Should I go now?
Yeah, go for it.
So I played both versions. First, I'll just review, because you guys kind of did the story-ish overview. I'll tell you guys the differences between the two. I love weirdly, the console version is actually a little better in some ways. More mechanical ways, like having to not have to click every little thing on the screen to pick it up. You just hold in the button, and you just go around and you can pick up the stuff automatically. It's really nice. The inventory system's a lot nicer. When you have a backpack on the PC, it'll just pop up as a window. And in the console version, the PS4 version, it'll expand your inventory on the bottom, which is really nice. Inventory navigation with console's a little tougher because you have to move the joystick as opposed to just moving and clicking on something and just dragging it or dropping it. But both are very, very well done. I was surprised by how well the console version was done. As for how I think about Don't Starve as a game, personally, I know it's a fad right now. I love the sort of user-created experiences types of survival games that are coming out right now. I think they're really cool. Games like Rust, which I got over Christmas, which
I really want to play
fantastic. Rust. I love that game. It's fun. It's basically Gary's version of DayZ. It's done by the guy who did Gary's Mod.
Is it only for PC or
PC only?
Oh,
which is good. Oh no, it's for Mac too.
Oh, it's
and Linux.
Okay.
That one I give a 5 out of 5. It's fun. But Don't Starve, you really have to kind of do. I'm not saying you didn't, but you really have to do your research. Go to the wiki, look up the different cauldrons and stuff you have to make, the different things you can build. And once again, this all goes to if you like survival games. If it's not your thing, you're not going to like it. Just like you probably won't like Rust if you don't like.
I like survival games. I've God knows how many hours I put into hardcore mode on Fallout New Vegas.
So you'll like.
Yeah, I mean, I like Don't Starve. I don't love it. It's just something I'll play when I'm bored.
One thing I really like about the game, from the little I've played it, is I love the art style.
That's I think it's so cool.
That's like so important for these little indie games is to make it look good on like a low, kind of a low
and it
res
separates
setting.
It's a way of separating each indie game. Limbo has its own style. Trying to think of indie games off the top of my head.
Minecraft.
Journey.
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami.
I mean,
yeah.
Journey has its own style. I mean,
Yeah.
each game has its own style, and
Yeah.
I love this.
Don't Starve is kind of like a dark gothic style.
Yeah.
Kind of like pen drawn cartoons. Like the game's not in black and white, but it's in like it almost feels like it is.
It's like a
dark
sepia.
It's like muddled
dark
colors.
purple. There's a lot of dark purple in that.
Okay, there's other colors too. There's a lot of dark green in there too.
color though I found is dark purple.
Right,
It's a
dark
recurring
green,
color.
purple. I have a perfect idea of what this game looks like now.
Yeah.
But I personally, I love the game. I think it's really cool. It's unique. It's different.
Yeah.
I can understand why some people would get bored with it. Personally, I love the fact that every 10 days there's going to be another fight against something. The fact that you have to get ready for winter at the same time, that I have like a million things on my mind, and on top of that, I just have to survive the next day, but think about the next 10 days and schedule that out too. I think it's cool. I think it's.
I mean, the fact we're talking about it makes me want to go and try it out. Because I only allowed about an hour on it.
Do a little more. Do some pull up the wiki. Do a little more research. Get past maybe 20 days. And winter comes and it changes up the game. It's just cool. It's really cool.
What would you get? How many stars out of 5?
Well, I mean, that's a tough thing to say. I mean, I'd probably give, in terms of survival games.
I mean, it's as a game in general.
As a game in general, I'd probably give it like a 3.5, maybe out of 5. I think it falls a bit above average. Personally, for me, I think it's really fun. Having said that, there's so much depth to it at the same time. I don't feel like I could give it a much higher score because I haven't experienced everything yet.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll give it.
Cool.
Henry, what would you give it?
Like I said, I
Just how many
can't.
hours you played?
I've not played it very long, but it seems promising, and what we've been talking about has really made me interested in it. So, I'd probably give a game like that has that kind of potential 3.54.
I would give it a 4.
Is that what you gave it to?
I give it 3.5.
Okay.
I like the 3.54.
I would give it a 4.
The 4?
I'm at the low for like a casual gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a 3. But for like those survival for people that like survival games, I would give it a 4.
Yeah.
Because I will 6. Yeah. Because I will say it is frustrating, but also awesome that you'll work for hours to build up all your stuff.
Yeah.
You make one dumb mistake. That was your fault.
Exactly.
It's a user's fault too. It's not some bullcrap that happens to you. It's your fault.
I wouldn't say that it's like a hardcore or a casual game, because I consider a hardcore game as a game that's hard to get into.
Yeah.
Where
like Crusader Kings 2
is like a
that,
hardcore game, or like yeah, like games that are just really difficult to understand and comprehend, versus like a game that you start out, maybe it's difficult, but you learn it fairly quickly, and then mastering it maybe is difficult or easy. I would consider that more of casual.
I think that's one more thing I'll say about it for me is I think that's an interesting thing to me about Don't Starve. It teeters on that because your first 10 days are very casual. Go out, chop down wood, make this thing, do that thing. But when you really, go on the wiki, look at the research for it, find out what you can make, what they do, and you sort of the depth of it just goes really deep. It's a huge game when you really look into it.
Yeah.
And you pull back the curtain.
Now for our
Really
for our final conversation of the day, it's our pick of the week. We decided to do this pick of the week to end it off. What's our most anticipated game of 2014? Adam seems very excited, so I'm going to let him speak first.
We'll go.
I already know. I mean, I from the first moment I saw this game, I've wanted it so bad. And especially I rewatched a bunch of the trailers for it. I'm really pumped now. Even though a lot of people don't like it. Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I cannot wait for this game. I'm so excited. I know. I don't care. I'm just excited. It's just like I'm pumped. I think that it's going to be, even if Ground Zeroes is that one mission that we keep seeing, and then you just have side missions, I kind of am even okay with that. The fact that he's not doing it as a full price game, I really appreciate.
$50.
40.
40 on
35. Going once. Going twice.
30 on the PS3, 40 on the PS4.
20. It's 20 on PS3.
Is it a PS exclusive?
And 40 on the PS4. I'm pretty
I
sure.
said 40.
Is it going to be on
I'll
Xbox?
have to double check.
Double check. But either way, it doesn't matter. I'll
It's
pay
not an
it.
exclusive.
I'll pay it. I think that it's. I think I can't wait. It's just gonna be a cool game, and to continue being Naked Snake.
Would
the
Naked
big
Snake
boss.
storyline is the coolest.
It is the coolest one. So, yeah.
James?
Alright, my most anticipated game of 2014 is Octodad Dadliest Catch.
What is this?
It's an indie game. My friend actually talked to the developers.
It is an indie game, and if you haven't heard of Octodad, play it. It's free. You can download the first game for free. You don't have an excuse, and it is one of the most crazy, hilarious, just like fun games I have ever played. And this game goes more into the background of how did an octopus become the loving father for this family. And the whole point is you're an octopus, and you're the father of this family, and you have to hide your existence from your family. You can't let them find out you're an octopus, and you have to do normal things. And the way you do this is you have to do like normal tasks like cleaning the dishes or sweeping the floor by controlling each individual limb of your octopus, which is difficult because you don't have a spine.
Some quap stuff right there.
It's basically like 3D Quap, but a little easier because Quap is too ridiculously hard.
Let me just say, I'm downloading this right now as we speak. I just started downloading it because it sounds so awesome.
Henry?
Okay, well, we'll just skip you.
I'll go last.
Okay, I will agree with Adam. I'm up for playing anything Metal Gear because, duh. And a Naked Snake storyline is pretty exciting. However, I'm pretty excited for the next addition to the Dragon Age series.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon Age Inquisition. I've seen a couple videos on it, but not that much. And I really do love the Dragon Age series. It's Mass Effect in a medieval universe, and it's very thoroughly, realized. If you never played the games, go back and play them. I mean, if you're not into the RPG elements, that's okay. The stories of the games, the universe, are completely unique, and I just think the idea of going back into that universe, whatever it may hold for me, is very exciting. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to in the coming year.
Adam?
I have to say, I'm super excited for that game too, and I just want to say I'm so excited that they're bringing back races and different background stories and stuff.
How did you without getting too in depth? Did you play the second game?
I played the second game. I was
Were
very
you
disappointed.
on? Okay, I was like and we'll get back on track, but I just want to have this conversation.
Go ahead.
Dragon Age 2, I was surprised by it because it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because everyone was like, "This is the worst thing of all time," and I'm like, "Well, how bad could it be?" And I played it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is fun." Because, I mean, it has some good stuff in it. There's some juicy content in there, but it is a step down in a lot of ways too.
I mean, Dragon Age Origins, let's say for reference here, I'd give a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Cantaloupes.
Yeah.
But for Dragon Age 2, I'd probably give like a 2.5. Like I felt like it was an average to slightly below average game. It wasn't.
I'd give it.
I
I'd
could
give
never
it a
get into
3.5.
Dragon Age.
What?
I can never get into
You might actually
like
like getting into
I
Dragon
tried.
Age 2.
I tried getting into Dragon Age, but I never even tried Dragon Age 2.
Because
How far did you
Dragon
get?
Age 2 has like a more user-friendly
Yeah, it
combat
is.
system than like the KOTOR system.
How far did you get into the story?
I got through the intro, and then I got up to. I went. The first place I went was the mages, and I got stuck.
That's
in
hard.
Sloth.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's the ended
Yeah.
like the best part of that whole series, in my opinion, is the Dwarven mines and Dragon
Yeah, that
Age
part's
Origin.
cool.
It is so cool. That's like Lord of the Rings stuff
Yeah.
right there.
But
But
As I
one more
started in the
question.
mages. Yeah.
One more question though. What race did you play as?
Human.
That's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
I tried playing as human. I could not get into that game at all. I changed my race to City Elf.
yeah, City
Where it's
Elf is
basically
so
like
good.
a Braveheart storyline
Mm-hmm.
where you're basically just this subservient class and your wife gets taken away from you in your first day of marriage. Or was it your wife? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was your bride to be.
Your bride to be gets taken away from you before your wedding
should
day,
check it.
and you have to fight for her to get back. You eventually have to leave. It's much better Do not do human storyline on Dragon Age.
The
Origins.
dwarf one
It's
is very
terrible.
good too.
It's bad.
Okay.
The wizard one is good,
Yeah.
Alright. So
and both the elf ones are good.
for me, for my most anticipated game, I'm stuck. Like there's so many good games coming out for the PlayStation 4. There's Infamous Second Son that I'm excited for. I want to play Titanfall. I know the multiplayer. I want to try it out. Giant mech suits. Come on.
Can
Can I see that list, by the way?
It's not really complete. It's
I don't
like
care.
there's
I
like
just wanna
many
see-
pages.
I just wanna see.
Let me just say this though: you will see mechs in Planet Side 2 with like thousands of players playing, so you'll get that times like a million.
Whoops.
Yeah. But for me, I feel. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. The Order 1880.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, I thought that
The
looked
Order.
pretty cool.
I just couldn't remember the name.
The Order.
That looks very cool.
I think it looks cool. I think it looks different.
And it's from my favorite Sony studio, Santa Monica.
What else have they done?
What type of game?
God of
Because
War.
I haven't looked that much into it. What type of game style is it? Is it kind of like sandboxy? Is it like what is it?
I
think
don't
it's,
know.
I think it's gonna be like
I think it's gonna be like Dishonored in a little bit.
I think it's
I mean,
gonna
this
be
style.
like open world story. So it's gonna be kind of open world, but like more story based. So
I think
not
it's.
as much.
like Dragon Age?
I think they're gonna do it more like
Yeah,
along
maybe.
the lines of Dishonored.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a third person. I don't know. Is it first person? I can't remember.
A third person.
I think so. It's gonna be. I would imagine that. Yeah, it would be like a third person
So
Dishonored.
then I guess it's kind of.
but not Dishonored because that's disappointing.
So it almost would be more
I
like.
mean, you would play. I mean, it would be like Dishonored and like any of the like the style. I'm just saying like how it's set up. Like
Yeah,
where
agreed.
you have like a main base and then you go out and do different.
Right. So it's not open world, but it's like a little
So
bit
almost
free.
like Uncharted, where you would have like a linear path you follow, but then they kind of give you an arena to play
Yeah.
in, and you can
Yeah.
do whatever you
It's
want.
like God
in
of
that area.
War. I think they're gonna. It's like because, I mean, Santa Monica makes games like Journey, and they've made God of War. I think it's gonna be something like that. Even. I mean,
yeah. That was actually going to make my list too. I just forgot the name.
yeah, I mean that's my list. I think
think
that's my.
But I think you're overlooking one thing, man.
What?
Destiny.
Destiny. I'm excited for it, but it's not my number one.
Wait, I have no idea when this is coming out. May I just do an honorary mention
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
Huh.
Have you heard about that?
No.
Yes, I heard about it.
Okay. It's basically I'll show you after the show.
Okay.
And you can sing its praises next time.
Okay.
You basically have a spaceship go anywhere in the universe.
That's so cool.
Anywhere. And you discover different planets, and it's I forget the name for it.
Don't go.
It's when
I know what you're
something-
thinking. I know what you're thinking.
What?
Just I know what you're thinking.
What? It goes.
I was just thinking this sounds really cool.
It's,
Yeah.
It goes to I forget what they call it. It's the same way Minecraft is made, where the world is randomly generated.
I was thinking Starbound, yeah.
Yeah, it was in your mind. I couldn't remember if it was Stardust or Starbound, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring it up in case I fuck it up.
But it's kind of like that. You'll if you find a planet, it'll be mapped on someone else's thing, and you can even
Wow.
visit that planet, and it has your name below it, and
That's
it's just
cool.
really you can explore the wildlife and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's neat.
See, I
I'm
mean,
excited.
other ones.
I
are
want to.
very-
I want to see what it looks like. So yeah,
Other
I'll
game-
do the podcast.
Other games I'm looking forward to this year: Watch Dogs,
Yeah, of course. Oh my god.
The Division.
Yeah.
Though that could be pushed back to 2015. I heard.
And then there's probably a whole bunch of
Um,
indie games we don't even know. that are gonna
Evil
pop up.
Within.
You with that? I didn't see that. Thief, I think should get an honorary mention too. That's going to be a great game. I love that game.
Elder Scrolls Online for anyone who cares.
Oh,
Yeah, that's on
God.
my list.
No.
I don't think that's on my list.
Oh,
There's a-
you guys are missing one out of this list.
What?
What?
The Witcher 3.
Oh
fuck.
yeah, that's coming out. This
I
year?
love
thought that
those
was-
games.
I thought it was
I love those
2015.
games.
Nope.
2014. What quarter?
2014.
I love The Witcher. I brought it up.
It
Before.
just says TBA 2014.
Okay.
That looks real cool.
And-
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
It's not a game, and it was supposed to come out last year, but Pokemon Bank.
I heard about that. That sucks that it didn't come out last year.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have time for today. It's glad to be back.
It's glad to be back.
It's, who's
I-
it?
I,
Good to be
I
back.
felt I felt empty without GeekTalk. and nobody did the contest, So
Oh,
yeah.
We win it.
So
there are no good superheroes, and we'll split the profits.
yeah. Well, I'm Zachariah.
I'm James the Ninja Ginger Cleary.
I'm Adam.
I'm Henry.
And this is Geek Talk. Cha-chang.